just tapping in on this Saturday. Today is a busy day, rivalry weekend. Give me some paraphernalia. But anyway, let's get into it, guys. Most men have never had one, and that's the title. And I'm going to argue. So once again, I'm going to argue that the average American man in general have never had the bliss of having an orgasm. And you might try to dissect that by saying, what do you mean? Well, it's simple. Many men live in a world where they forfeit their own happiness, they forfeit their own well-being, and they forfeit their needs for the sake of a relationship. As I've told you guys before in the past, that good relationship symmetry is when men and women both benefit. But sadly, because of the current family epidemic that we have, broken families, lack of masculine order and leadership in those sad families, the lack of cooperation by some will allow the men to be the rightful leaders in the relationship. Many men have never experienced an orgasm. And I'm not talking about a physical orgasm, but I'm talking about a mental orgasm. You know, many times in life, many times in relationships, many times in dating, we often talk about provision and protection for a woman. But we never took the time to ask the question, what are we providing for the man as it relates to protection? And men don't need physical protection from their wives. The average man don't need physical protection, but men do need mental protection. And that mental protection many times is tied into a soft, kind woman. As I told you guys, y'all know I'm a licensed clinical therapist. I see a lot of strange oddities in some of these couple sessions. And so many men will and have been in broken relationships where they're not only sexist relationships, but also their relationships where that man has never had his mind mentally stimulated. And it's problematic on so many levels. And I'm gonna prove to you guys why it's problematic. Because a lot of traditional men, when they got married, or men in general when they get married, they not only want to have a physical orgasm, but they want to have a mental orgasm too. And a mental orgasm for a man is a dopamine hit. That's why a lot of men, when they travel abroad and they get in contact with genuine, true, feminine women, they have what's called a catharsis. A catharsis is a mental moment where they actually break down because they've never been treated that good before. Watch this, it's gonna make a lot of sense. We know that most women don't have orgasms through intercourse. But if a man can make a woman have an orgasm and she starts crying, then that's a strong sign that she's hooked. That bond is connected, that woman is hooked to that man if that man can give her a physical orgasm. But something happens to a man fundamentally on a mental level and a biochemical level when he comes in contact with a feminine woman. And that femininity is so powerful and it's so refined. It's almost like raw cocaine. If you ever, I ain't never dealt with no drugs, guys, but if you ever dealt with cocaine, once you get that first hit from drugs, that dopamine hit, and it's raw, and that's the first time your brain get penetrated by that hit, you won't be the same until you can continue to get that hit. And sometimes you strive to get that hit over and over and over and over and over again. But men in America have never, I would say the average man, and I will also definitely would say the average black man, have never consistently gotten a mental orgasm. And let me tell you something, guys, it's powerful on so many different levels. Because just like a man give a woman a physical orgasm, do sex, a woman giving a man a mental orgasm, do being feminine, is powerful. And what it does for a lot of men, once they get that mental orgasm, he's never the same. He's never the same. He don't see the world the same, and he can never rest until he get that feeling of rapture, until he get that feeling of explosiveness, until he get that feeling of love. He can never be the same until he get that feeling again. And that's why it's so important that when a man comes into a relationship, he does not broker or more or less minimize what his needs are. He has to be very vocal in what he wants and what he needs. And the problem with American society today is that we have not fundamentally taught or asked, what do we give men in relationships? What do we give men in general that can make them happy? Because see, I fundamentally believe that in relationships, both parties benefit. I believe women should benefit. I believe that men should benefit. And listen, I want you guys to understand and know that I don't expect things to get better in our lifetime. There is a remnant group of women that are notable women, honorable women. They're doing the work. They respect men. They respect the relationships. They want old school love. There's a remnant of good women. Shout out to those good women. But they are far and few in between. And so, if you think you're gonna get a mental orgasm in a society that's, one will argue, is mostly matriarchal, in a society where the world doesn't ask men what they want on a fundamental level, in a society where many things that we vote for are antithetical to traditional families and traditional masculinity, you are greatly mistaken. And so men need to feel loved and validated. And a lot of men don't feel loved and validated. They don't feel loved and validated in their marriages. They don't feel loved and validated in their homes. They don't feel loved and validated at all. And because of that, like I said, a lot of men have never had a mental orgasm. He's never had one. Because once he get that mental orgasm is going to be synonymous to a woman getting a physical orgasm. And when that woman starts crying because she got a physical orgasm, just like that man is crying because he got a mental orgasm because he got with a godly, feminine woman. Imagine a world where men are consistently being loved and validated. He doesn't have to deal with a concept that I created called genetically modified truth. That's a term that I created. Just like I created a lot of different terms that people use and never give credit for. Like I created the term, like I never heard no one use the word hoflation until I said it. But giving that man that mental orgasm is powerful because not only does it relax him, it refines him. It helps to psychologically reset him, but also that mental orgasm can ground the man. Men get grounded when they have what's called mental orgasm. He gets grounded when he has a mental orgasm. And one of the things, guys, that I teach in therapy is a such thing called grounding techniques. Some believe in Eastern meditation. Some call it mindfulness. I don't necessarily ascribe to Eastern meditation. I tend to look at the Christian worldview. But grounding a man is very important to help that man reset so that man can go out into the world and conquer the world. And I would argue that's why men in other countries tend to be a lot more successful. You hear a lot of women saying, black men don't build and men don't build in general. Well, I would argue to the woman, are you helping him reset? Are you being his peace? Are you giving him a mental orgasm? That mental orgasm means that you are an assertive listener. You are listening to what he wants. The mental orgasm means that your femininity is so powerful that it's intoxicating, because that's how you're protecting him and helping him to reset. A mental orgasm is you working out on a consistent basis, keeping yourself looking good for your man. That's a mental orgasm. A mental orgasm is living your life to service him and to love him. And listen, I don't believe you should give this to any man. Every man don't deserve that. I think every man deserves basic discipline and basic decency. But I'm talking about hardworking, white collar, blue collar men that are solid dudes. I'm not talking about men that are lazy, men that don't have a vision. You know, now if you are married, I do believe that a woman should do everything in her power to accentuate her man, to respect him, and if he's not a believer, to try to guide him on a path of righteousness. But I'm just talking about that average to above average, or even higher up, or high value man. Most men in America, especially black men, white men too, but I would definitely say black men, have never had a mental orgasm. They don't know what it's like to be under the love and the care of a feminine woman. And it hits different if you're a man that's traveled abroad, especially if you're a single man that's traveled abroad. From the conversation I've had with men in therapy, but also from what I've seen through my own observation, the power of getting that mental orgasm is addictive. And it's so addictive, it's almost like going to heaven. Once you get that mental orgasm, your mind will never be the same. So let me tell you guys something. A lot of you guys have been broken psychologically due to trauma. You don't know what it's like to be touched by a woman with soft hands, a woman that has a soft voice. Her cadence is soft, because the words of a woman speak can either add death or it can add life. Her words are literally like a vibration. They've done a study. It was a rice study, and in that rice study they had in the past. And guys, I can't see, so if y'all are watching, shout out to everybody that's listening. Shout out to Greg Scholar look like. I'm heading to the ship, guys. Today's gonna be a big week. The Carolina Tar Heels are squaring off with Bill Belichick and the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And I got family at NC State. I went to Carolina, so it's a house divided. So I'm gonna be getting it in, watching the Wolfpack, and my Tar Heels getting it in later on today, guys. Y'all see me representing Durham Bull City, man, North Carolina Central today. But most men have never had a mental orgasm. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to get revered. They don't know what it's like to be heard and understood. Most have been taught and conditioned that their masculinity is predicated on a price. He got to always buy her affection, buy her love, buy her validation, and buy her attention. And once again, because of the trauma that so many black men and men in general have dealt with, the trauma blocks in the mind prevents the brain from connecting to what's called neural stimulation, or also the synapses in the brain. Trauma prevents the development of the brain. Trauma prevents the fire from firing in the brain. That's why you guys hear me say all the time, fire for your mind. I say that intentionally because fire symbolizes electricity. The synapses and the neurons in the brain is electrical, but also fire symbolizes burning out impurities, but fire also symbolizes illumination. And a lot of men have not been properly illuminated. They have not been properly calibrated. They have not been properly attuned. Attunement is a term that Dr. Gottman used. I went to Punta Cana, DR last year, and attunement means to continue to refine that relationship. And because I am the kosher clinician, there's only one kosher clinician, I create my own terms. I make my stuff kosher. And I created a term called mental pixelation. The American man's mind is highly pixelated. It's not highly regulated, and it's not highly optimized, and it's not highly efficient, because he still has trauma blocks which preclude him from seeing reality for what it is. And once a man have a mental orgasm, and he get that refinement from a feminine, kind, real, genuine, raw woman, it's the second next thing to being under the power of the Holy Spirit. That's what I've been told. But most men would never experience that level of feminine bliss. They'll never be able to experience a woman with a soft voice, soft hands, kind words, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation. A woman that knows how to attune his mind, and in the attunement process, it's not based on conditional femininity. It's not based on him being performative in his masculinity. It's not based on him always giving and giving and giving and never get anything in return, because most men have been conditioned to think that they don't deserve anything. So they go in with a deficit mindset, minimizing what their core needs are, assuming that what she is asking for is at the top and you're at the bottom, instead of you both come into a relationship where you both benefit. It's an equal playing field. She benefits and you benefit. And they just suffer into perpetuity, never knowing what it's like to be under the allure, or that je ne sais quoi, or that aphrodisiac, or that perfume of a true feminine woman that can give you not only peace, but can also reset the trauma blocks in your brain potentially, but also that can reset and recalibrate your mind so that you can be the best version of yourself. But see, a lot of American men are still dealing with what's called trauma blocks, trauma by proxy. Some of you have not properly dealt with trauma by proxy as it relates to the trauma that you went through as a young boy, the trauma of rejection that you experienced as a young man, the trauma of emasculation by the women you dealt with, the trauma by of not feeling some levels of inadequacy. It might be your height. And then also a part of it, guys, is that some of you are still struggling because some of you don't want to do the work. You don't want to do the work. You don't want to do the work. You want to complain more than doing the work. And because you don't want to do the work, you're not going to ever get the outcomes. Let me tell you something. One of the things I teach young men, and that's why I want you guys to start doing non-diagnostic clinical consultations. When you go into a relationship, if you want to have a mental orgasm, then you got to keep the bar high. You got to always keep the bar high. You got to keep your bar high and your standards high, because we know that modern women don't have a problem with saying what they want in a man. And guess what? I don't blame a woman for saying what she wants. She has every right to say what she wants. But see, here's the problem with that. Her wants are not symmetrical to reality many times, and her wants are tied into her own internal delusions. That's why I came up with the term genetically modified truth. The truth and the presupposition that by default, because you are of the opposite sex, that you're better than the average man. And that in itself is the definition of insanity. That in itself is the definition of insanity. And because our family dynamics are so disruptive, many men never got that nurture from their mothers either. They never got a nurturing mother that stimulated them psychologically, not from a sexual perspective. But I'm talking about a woman that gave him love, validation, affirmation. You know, she wasn't dealing with her own internal traumas and projecting that pain to her son. But she was a true woman that loved her children, loved her son, and would always defer to the men in her family or her husband when necessary, because that woman was a centered, grounded woman, and that woman understood her assignment as a woman. And as I said before earlier, men that get what's called mental orgasms are never the same. It's very cathartic when a man gets a mental orgasm. He's never the same, and he can never look at women the same again once he gets touched by that feminine woman. It's so powerful and it's so hypnotic that he's never the same again. His mind is never the same. The way he sees the world is never the same. His experience is never the same. The demands now are totally different. And that's why a lot of times when men have that mental orgasm, one can argue that it's very ethereal. And what I mean by ethereal is very heavenly. And it's, to a lot of men, it's almost like an out-of-body experience, because the bliss is so powerful and it's so hypnotic and it's also so captivating. But once again, when men talk about their needs and their wants and their desires, many times it's met with trepidation, it's met with silence, it's met with conditional femininity. But true women that are genuine, understands her position, understands the assignment, doesn't suffer from genetically modified truth. She doesn't suffer from digitally modified truth. That woman is in proper symmetry and proper alignment with getting the things that she wants from a true masculine man. But once again, the world has never asked men what they want in relationships. The world has never asked a man what he wants in a relationship. The world don't care about what a man wants in a relationship. The world is expecting a man just to do, not to ask, and just to be quiet. And sadly, so many men, they just do it. They don't ask for anything. They don't demand anything, and they don't set the bar high. And men that go through situations and scenarios where they get that mental orgasm, they are never the same. And let me tell you guys something. There are some women that don't want you to ever get that mental orgasm, because she don't want to do the work. She believes in what's called a parasitic relationship. And a parasitic relationship is where she benefits, and you never benefit. But in an equilateral relationship, you benefit, and when you benefit and she benefit, the world benefited. That's what happened years ago. I saw my dad during the holidays, and my dad was shedding a tear. I showed him a video of my mom. And my dad was shedding a tear because my dad got what most men got back in the past, which was, the women were better. They weren't perfect, but they were a lot better. And some of you men will never get a chance to experience that because you keep seeking validation. Some of you have what's called an anxious attachment style. You don't have any boundaries. You don't have any value systems. You don't know what your worth is. You keep giving your pearls to swine. You don't demand anything. You don't raise the bar high. Let me tell you something. To you average men, average working class men, you should never compromise your sovereignty for no one. You shouldn't go in a relationship where you got to consistently be the one that compromise all the time. In relationships, you compromise, she compromise. In relationships, you give, she give. That's a healthy relationship. In a relationship, you're not being in a relationship where you're looking for that mental orgasm, but she's not giving you that mental orgasm because she's already gotten what she wants, which is now financial security. See, yeah, she ain't gonna give you that mental orgasm. She gave, some of her exes before you a mental orgasm because they were her selection. They were her select. They were the men that she really wanted. But a lot of times, I'm not saying always, these women are just settling for you because they realize that they're older now. They have more baggage, and they're tired. They want somebody to help them take care of their children now. Not children, but their children. They want somebody to help them take care of their children, guys. Hold tight. They want somebody to help them take care of their children. And now they're choosing you. And once again, it's a problem, guys, on so many levels, because a lot of guys expect it. They expect it, and they don't demand anything in the process. They expect it, and they don't demand anything in the process. And so listen, I understand, guys, these kind of conversations a lot of times fall on deaf ears. Telling the truth, standing up for the average day guy, it's not profitable. You don't make no money telling the truth. Not on YouTube, you won't. I'm not telling the truth. Trying to be fair, balanced, and objective gets you nowhere as well. And it's unfortunate because I do believe in tradition, I believe in family, and I believe in community. But I think we're at a very perilous crossroad now, because a lot of the things that I'm talking about is not being reinforced in the epicenters that can get the results that men are actually looking for. A lot of this stuff should be reinforced, should be reinforced in the church. But it hasn't been reinforced in the church. It's not being reinforced in the homes. It's not being reinforced in the schools. And it's not being reinforced in masculine centers that can help men get the results that they want. And so once again, men just continue to suffer in silence, never know what it's like to be properly loved as a man, never know what it's like not to compromise their power or to compromise their masculinity. And let me tell you something, guys, men in other countries don't deal with a lot of the stress that American men deal with in general. A lot of American men, those men don't deal with the stress that we deal with. They got their own problems. But I would say in most countries, the women respect their men and they respect leadership. And I would say that a lot of those men, but some of those men, the ones that, because you got bad men in other cultures too. But I would say those men have had mental orgasms. And so how many of you men that are listening, I know it's only a few of y'all share the stream too, guys. Share the stream. I'm about to get to my destination in a minute. I got to go to the bookstore, get ready for NC State and my Carolina Tar Heels, guys. My Tar Heels of North Carolina. We're gonna get active at 7:30. But how many of you men have had a mental orgasm by a woman? If you have had a mental orgasm, I want you to hit 1. How many of you men have had a mental orgasm by a truly genuine feminine woman? I'm not talking about a woman that's fake with her femininity. But I'm talking about a woman that's genuinely kind, because we understand that a lot of women perpetrate femininity. They're trad cons. I call them traditional. They call them traditional conservatives, but they're trad cons also because they're con women trying to sell traditionalism, and they're not genuine. They're just, they're just trying to be covered now. But how many men have genuinely been with a feminine woman? How many men? How many men have genuinely had the allure and had the love, the support, and the adulation of a feminine woman? I'm talking about genuinely feminine. If you've experienced that and you've had that psychological bliss, I want you guys to hit 1 if you had that psychological bliss where you've been hypnotized by a feminine woman. Because I would argue that most men have never had it. They've never had it, don't know what it looks like, and many times will never experience it. And that's why the passport bro movement was so powerful for such a long time, because men were traveling abroad looking for genuine love and genuine relationships. And listen, let me tell you guys something I've always said in the past. Traveling to other countries to meet foreign women means nothing if you are psychologically broken as a man. I'm going to say it again. Traveling to other countries, if you're a single man, and I do say single, means nothing if you are a broken man. It means nothing. Because see, your brokenness with men are masculine. Because if you're a broken man in America, you're going to be a broken man abroad, and you're going to be taken advantage of over abroad as well, because you're broken. But if you've done the work, you worked on yourself, you know what your boundaries are, you know what your standards are, you're not going to compromise your boundaries and your standards, you're not going to minimize your work, you're not going to minimize your expectations as a man. This is who I am. This is my expectations. Because let me tell you guys something. I'm a firm believer that every man before he says I do, every man before he decides to get married, should have some kind of guidelines in place saying these are my expectations whenever we get married. And a woman should have the same thing. I don't have a problem with a woman having her expectations as well. But we know most women are going to have that. But a man should have something in place signifying this is what I want in this relationship. Have her to read it. Y'all both agree to it. It's called pre-contracting before you get married, with the understanding these are my expectations. The woman can do the same thing. And then if they get serious about consummating that relationship, as they get serious about making that relationship cemented, you let that person know that if those needs are not being met outside of death and outside of sickness, and even sickness is questionable, then there's a consequence. Because too many men, and I had a session with a client this morning, they don't set the bar high. They don't demand anything. And then they complain about not getting the outcomes that they want because they don't demand anything in that relationship. I told you guys once, and I told you guys in the past, that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. Power ain't never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have conceded, and it never will concede. If you don't go in a relationship with having a power mindset, and I'm not talking about, because see, a lot of folks get mad. I heard a family member tell me, he said, you want leverage. I'm like, yeah, you're right, fool. I do want leverage. Everything is about leverage. God uses leverage. You know, even God uses leverage. You know, he told the Lucifer, he said that all power in heaven and earth has been given unto me. When he was on the cross, he said, if I wanted to, he said, I could send 10,000 angels to defend me. So God, Jesus even understood the importance of leverage and power. And so when you go into a relationship, you need to have healthy power and healthy leverage in order to get that woman to get what's called positive ownership. Because a lot of women go into relationships broken from men that abuse them, men that lied to them, men that left them with kids, and then they have a false equivocation of all men based on the men that burnt them, spurned them, abandoned them, abused them. And so you got brokenness on both sides. You got unhealing on both sides. But I'm bringing this to the forefront because we never talk about male trauma. We never talk about male abuse. We never talk about male emasculation. It's not often discussed in therapeutic circles because many times therapy is conditioned around the worldview or the purview that a lot of times, I'm not saying all therapists do it, but a lot of times they place the woman's needs up top, and things are seen through what's called the Duluth model, or things are seen through what's called the feminist theory lens. And that's why a lot of times men just suffer in silence. They never get what they want. They're never heard. They're never validate. They're never respected. And that's why so many women get shocked when men decide to finally travel abroad, when men go to other countries, when men go looking for that allure that they never got here in America. Because once again, needs always drive behaviors. Needs drive behaviors. I'm going to say it again. Needs drive behaviors. And when a man is not getting his needs met, that man not only suffers in silence, but sometimes you can have what's called adaptive coping skills, or you can have what's called maladaptive coping skills. And a lot of times those men will develop what's called maladaptive coping skills because they're not getting their needs met. And so when they travel abroad to get their needs met, a lot of times that's the first time they get that what I call it, that mental orgasm. That's their first time getting a mental orgasm. It's when they travel abroad, because that's the first time they felt like that they can be sovereign in a relationship. But because America tends to be more matriarchal, men are not allowed to express or address what they want. Many times those same men are shamed into addressing what they want. Many times a lot of men are silenced into assessing and addressing what they want. Then they begin to systematically just suffer in silence, internalize their true feelings, internalize their pain, internalize their brokenness for the sake of conformity. And you should never internalize anything for the sake of conformity, because power has never conceded to anything without a struggle. As I told you before, guys, it never have and it never will. And to those that are coming in earlier, I was saying to those that are coming in earlier, if you came in or if you come on the late end, I was trying to give a conveyance that a woman that's had an orgasm, a lot of times it brings her to tears due to the intensity of that orgasm. But the same can be said for a man when he travels abroad and he gets that feminine hit from a feminine woman. It can bring him also to an orgasm. It brings that man to an orgasm, a mental orgasm, not physical, but it brings him to a mental orgasm, which is mental bliss. And that man is never the same again. That man can never look at women in the West the same again. That man can never communicate or contextualize what he wants the same again, because that man has had a mental orgasm. And he'll never see the world the same again. He'll never see women the same again. He'll never compromise his standards again. But what he's going to do, he's going to put his head down. He's going to hit that grindstone, and he's going to start firing away. And he's going to start looking for women that help him get his needs met. And he's not going to never tolerate or settle again. He ain't going to never settle again, because finally he got that mental orgasm. He got that mental orgasm. And that's the greatest fear that a lot of Western women struggle with, white and black, because they don't want that man to get that mental orgasm. There was a story, guys, I saw where a white woman said the white men need to stop dating. They said the white women, and hold on, guys, listen, I'm driving the hill live. This is the home of Michael Jordan, guys. Tar Heel Nation, stand up. This is my alma mater, man. I'm always rep my Tar Heels, man. Tar Heel Nation, Tar Heel strong. Home of Dean E. Smith, home of Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world. I'm always talk trash, guys. I'm always talk trash. I'm always talk trash. We could probably lose today because our football team is trash. But I'm always be a Tar Heel, man. Tar Heel born, Tar Heel bred. I'm gonna be a Tar Heel until I'm dead. I'm gonna be a Tar Heel guy until I'm dead, man. But back to what I was saying. the white lady got upset, guys. I got to head to the bookstore in a minute. But the white lady got upset, and she told white men, she said white men need to stop dating Asian women. She said white men need to stop dating Asian women because she didn't want the white man to have a mental orgasm. And so like what I'm trying to tell you guys, it ain't just a black woman, black man thing. It's an American thing. White men are going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing. I talk to them in couples, in either couples therapy or this individualized therapy too. I'm talking to a gentleman right now. He's about to lose everything he got. She emasculated him. She wasn't giving him intimacy, always complaining. He paying all the bills. He's stressed out. He ain't getting nothing but an attitude, lip, and also taking care of somebody else's children, not children, but children. And now he's stressed out because he got to pay that child support. He got to pay child support, probably got to pay alimony, and he's a white man. So white women also, some white women are also, guys, saying that they don't want that man to have that mental orgasm. I need to write a book on that, guys. And guys, y'all do me a favor, man. Hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. Share the stream. Donate to the channel, man. Donate to the channel, man. Because, you know, I'm showing y'all some love today. I'm about to park up here. I'm about to park here. I hold on to my truck. I'm about to park up here, guys. And I'm gonna head to the bookstore, man. Get me a fleece, cause I'm in a house divided, man. You know, and you know, y'all don't laugh at this, man. My daughter goes to state. I got a wolf pack, you know, and I told my man, I was talking to my homeboy today. I was saying, y'all would have thought that she would at least y'all would have thought that she would at least say, well, I'm gonna wear some paraphernalia that's symmetrical to my husband and also to my daughter, so you know I ain't gonna take no sides. But she said she a wolf pack. She chose the wolf pack. She chose the Bloods over the Crips, man. She chose the Bloods over the Crips, and she didn't want to give me no love, man. I jokingly say, women gonna always choose themselves first. They're gonna always choose. they're gonna always choose themselves. This is in the nature, man. You know, once you understand the nature, you don't take stuff personal no more. You don't take it personal. It's just part of the nature, man. They selfish by nature. It takes a. Hey, hold tight, guys. Listen, now listen, guys. This is the coach moment. There's something else I want to tell y'all, guys. Don't ever get in debt buying new cars, guys. This is my kosher mobile. I had to get it refined a little bit. That's the kosher swag right there. You know what I'm saying? That's my kosher swag. You know, like the young folks say, stop playing. Not a new car, because I don't buy no new cars, man. I ain't buying no new car. I'm debt free. Well, I'm not debt free yet, but I'm getting there. But as y'all can see, this is my kosher mobile. This is my kosher mobile, guys. I got this after I had my accident. Y'all see that Tar Heel Nation, that Tar Heel swag. But this is after I had my accident, guys. Hold tight. This is after I had my accident, so I'm about to go here, walk up here, and go to the bookstore. About to go to the bookstore, guys, and get me a fleece, because Bill Belichick about to head to Carla Finley Stadium, and we're gonna probably lose and play the Wolfpack. So, you know, I'm gonna have to represent my Tar Heels. Nobody else can represent them, because I'm a Tar Heel born. I'm a Tar Heel bled. I'm gonna be a Tar Heel until I'm dead, because I ain't gonna stop ever being a Tar Heel. Tar Heel Nation, stand up. But anyway, back to what I was saying, guys. Even the Asian man, even though white woman is upset, some of them, not all of them. Shout out to the good white women. But even the white women are saying white men need to stop dating Asian women. They want them to stop dating Asian women because they don't want to give that man anything either. They don't even want to give Brad no love and attention, affection, and respect. They just want Brad to pay the bills, shut up, and always indignify himself to meet her selfish demands and to meet her selfish needs, man. Hold on, man. Let me take these glasses off, man. I can't read some of these comments, man. He said, salute kosher. Shout out to my man Kenny People. Good evening, sir. During chronological, sir. What do you say? Salute culture for the change. Yeah, I don't know what Greg said. I'll check it out in a minute. But anyway, guys, y'all do me a favor. Share the stream, guys. Share it, please. Share the stream. Share the stream, guys. I'm about to walk across this street. Guys. Y'all share the stream. Share the stream, guys. And number 4, watch it. You know, when you tell the truth, you ain't gonna have a lot of folks in your stream, man. You know, I keep telling y'all, man. You know, it's you know, shout out to good men like Greg with Scotland, man. I always show love, man. Greg always showing me love, man. But when you're a content creator, guys, if you're really serious about content, you want to make money, because this stuff is time consuming, man. It takes a lot of work to be a content creator. It's one of the hardest jobs I ever done. But I do it, guys, in part because I understand that only a certain amount of women gonna resonate with what I'm talking about. Most are not going to. Shout out to Anita Stockmeyer. And her and I, we were talking about last week that about 20% are ready. It's about 20%. Some would say less than that. 20% ready, but the rest, you know, they're gonna do them, and that's fine. Let them do them. Don't worry about women like that. But I want you guys to start doing the work. I want you guys to start changing the laws in your mind. And I want you guys to continue to raise the bar high. Because see, when you start raising the bar high and you've done the work, then you can start demanding better. And you ain't gonna compromise your standards. You ain't gonna let nobody shame you out of your standard, because the same talking points that many use to manipulate and control is that you're insecure, you're controlling, who hurt you, your mama's black. Those are all manipulation talking points, or even crying to shame you out of your birthright as a man. Once you understand what your worth is and what your power is, guys, you ain't gonna never compromise your worth again. And once again, shout out to all the good women. Shout out to the good, but there's some good women out there that are waiting to be claimed. They're ready for relationships. They're ready for love. And they're willing to serve you as you serve them, because that's what good relationships do. In a good relationship, the man serves the woman serves the man, and the man serves the woman. That's what good relationships do, guys. But sadly, only in America are men expected to consistently serve without being served in the process. And what that does fundamentally is that it leaves what's called a mental deficit. And it's a mental deficit that most folks won't talk about. The church won't talk about it. You can't talk about it. They're not talking about it in the schools. They're not talking about it in the homes. They're not talking about it in the community. Nobody is talking about it because nobody don't care. But I'm a firm believer that when men start raising the standards up, when they start demanding more, when they start saying, this is what I want, if I don't get what I want, I'm going to walk away, then they have no other choice but to comply or be left behind. See, here's the crazy thing about it, guys. There are going to be some that are not going to comply, and you got to be okay with it. Because there are going to be some they're not going to comply, guys. They're going to be digging their heels on the highway to hell. And so they're not going to comply. And that, you got to be okay with it. You got to go in with the understanding that a lot of them are not going to comply. And that's fine. Because watch this. The ones that comply, and I'm going to talk about genuine women. I'm not talking about these fake women that are desperate now. They want a good man now. You know, after giving the virtue to everybody else. I'm not talking about those women. But I'm talking about those good women that have done the work. They've self-assessed. They've gotten grounded. They take ownership. They take accountability for their behavior, good and bad. And now they're ready to get with a good man that's done the same thing. Those are the kind of women that I'm talking about. And if you can find that, then find it. If you can find that here in America, then you should find it. But sadly, we know that a lot of men are not going to find it. You know, one of the things I strive to do, I got beautiful daughters. I got gorgeous daughters. You know, my daughters ain't ran through. I raised my daughters to strive to be good women. I talk to my daughters about men and expectations and value, marriage, you know, over careers. And not saying that a woman can't have a career. Nothing wrong with her having a career. Because some of these men are dusty. There's some dusty men out here that will manipulate a woman. But you can't go into a relationship assuming the worst. Because if you go into a relationship assuming the worst because you're broken, that means that you are emotionally unavailable. And there are a lot of emotionally unavailable women in America now. And a lot of that, guys, is tied to a trauma response. A lot of it's tied to a trauma response because a lot of these women are emotionally unavailable. And it's tied to a trauma response because every man they see it through the lens of the pathology that they went through as a woman. And so it's time for men to start raising the bar. And I think men are beginning to raise the bar. The internet has given traditional-minded men the ability to speak truth to power, and has given traditionally minded women the ability to see and understand what men are looking for. And those women that are willing to circumvent, to deconstruct and reconstruct a new way of thinking, they're beginning to get the outcomes that they want in relationships. Because I'm a firm believer, your time on this planet is limited. And guys, this right here is iconic right here. This is the, I don't know if you guys have been on Caroline's campus. This is iconic bell tower. That's the bell tower right there, guys. That's what makes Carolina one of the prettiest campuses in the country, man. But I got to hurry up and get back to my other domicile. Got to hurry up and get my other domicile, man. Because Carolina gonna play NC State later today, so I'm gonna get ready for that. I got me some Under Armour gear. Shout out to my man Top Gun. You know, he told me about Under Armour. Top Gun, hopefully, man, I can get you to still order me some. Got me some fleece wear. And I'm gonna get ready for this cold, rigid night. And hopefully we can pull off an upset. Hopefully we can pull off an upset tonight, guys. I don't think it's gonna happen, but hopefully we can pull off an upset. Actually, I'm gonna go on Caroline's camp. I'm gonna go in the neighborhood in a few, man. And I'll probably do some tailgating. But what I was saying is that once men start raising the bar, once men start raising the standard, and guys, listen, do me a favor. As I'm streaming this, share this stream with other men. Other men need to hear this. Share this stream. You got to start sharing these streams and sharing the content. It gets the message out. Share these streams. If you can't donate anything, just share the stream, please. Because that helps the channel grow when you share it. Share it with like-minded men. Don't share it with people that you know ain't going to listen to it. You share it with like-minded men and women that want to hear the truth. Not digitally modified truth, but the real truth. You share with those kind of people. And so, like I said, this is not just a black man thing. It's an American man thing because, you know, Becky don't want bread to be happy either. Becky don't want bread to him a ling-ling. she don't want him to be happy about it, man. So guys, don't take it personal. It ain't just you. It's everywhere. So I'm about to walk in the store. Y'all can see here. I'm about to walk in the store, man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. As y'all can see, y'all see the little band. They call it Chapel Bill. That's dope. Chapel Bill. That's dope. I gotta find me a hoodie. Which one y'all think? Y'all think I should get the blue? What y'all think? Get the blue one? Gotta find me a hoodie. Hold on. But anyway, guys, let me see if I can read some of these comments, man. It will take you $1 million to find it good. Yeah, 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 brother. I agree, man. It's yeah. I agree with you, man. It's hard, but listen, I'm raising mine, man, to be good women, man. I'm raising mine to be good women, but they hard to find, man. And if you got your head on right, you've done the work. I don't recommend men wasting their time trying to find something. I'm trying to look at some of these hoodies, guys. Trying to find me a hoodie. Trying to find me a nice hoodie. Trying to find a white one, guys. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Y'all tell me which one y'all like. Y'all like this one? Carolina football. That's too thin. I need something bigger. What do y'all like, man? What do y'all like, y'all? Which one? Y'all like this one? That's all right. I don't really like that. I want something white. What y'all think? Y'all like that? I gotta find me a nice hoodie, guys, for this football game tonight. I got some old ones, but I gotta find me a nice one. Gotta find me a nice one for tonight, man. See my man Chopper Bill get it in, man. I might just get this one. I might get this one, guys. I might get this one. Hold tight. But yeah, so anyway, guys, like I was saying, you got to set the bar high and keep it high, man. You know, the longer you keep it high, and you know what your worth is, she ain't gonna have no other choice but to comply. But I still fundamentally also don't really advise men getting married in America unless they get an ironclad prenup. You need to get a prenup. You need to get you an ironclad prenup. They can't be challenged by the courts. If she was to sign that prenup, and you make sure that prenup is airtight, because I teach men to get them a prenup, then you should be fine. But I don't believe in going into relationships now without an ironclad prenup. I don't know if you guys saw Carlos Boozer. And Carlos Boozer was actually talking about that. I'm trying, you know, guys, I gotta get me a white. Let me go upstairs, man. I'm gonna go upstairs. So anyway, guys, once again, share the stream. Y'all heard me get back to Oak City. Y'all heard me get back to Oak City, guys. And get back to Oak City and watch State play Carolina. First State Carolina game I've ever seen. So I gotta hurry up and get back, get me a shirt and keep it moving. But I'm convinced that a lot of you guys, man, y'all say y'all good. Y'all say y'all good, man. Y'all say I don't want no relationship. A lot of y'all brothers say I'm good, man. A lot of y'all brothers say I'm good. Trying to find me a shirt, man. Y'all tell me which ones y'all like, man. Y'all tell me which ones y'all like. Trying to find me a nice fleece. Trying to find me a nice fleece, guys. This game on tonight, because it's gonna get real cold, and I need to get me a nice fleece, but I just don't know which one to get. But anyway, listen. Thank you guys for tapping in. There's about 4 folks in here. Hold on for a minute. About 4 watching. So listen, guys. Listen. I'm gonna end it here in a minute. I gotta hurry and get this coat. I gotta hurry and get this jacket, guys. I can get out here and get on the road. Watch my boys play. What y'all think about this one? Actually, this one's dope. What y'all think? What you fellas think about this one? I think I'm gonna get this one, guys. What y'all think about that? I think I'm gonna get this one. I like this. What y'all think? Don't tell me how much it cost though. $110. I like this one, guys. Gotta find me a sweater now. And then I think we're gonna get on the road, man. But yeah, man, like I was saying, guys, yeah, you know, I call it the uncomfortable truth. It's the uncomfortable truth. Telling the truth, they ain't gonna get you a lot of popularity, man. You ain't gonna get a lot of popularity telling the truth, man. And I don't tell the truth, guys, because I'm a mean person, man. You know, like I said, I want to see both parties do well in relationships. I want to see both parties do well. But sadly, we understand, like, you know, and I know a lot of folks will look at the comment at the bottom saying that's nihilistic. But that's how a lot of guys feel. A lot of guys feel like they just feel like it's not enough, man. They feel like it's not enough. And a lot of guys just feel like, you know what, it ain't even worth it, man. And they're not even trying to take the chance, man. And it's sad, man, because I'm a firm believer that, you know, being in love is powerful if you can get the right woman. It's a powerful drug. It's a powerful drug, guys. If you never experienced it, never had it. But you should never be a slave to a feeling, though, because that can be dangerous, especially being a man in America. Because a lot of people will say, you know, he don't believe in love and he's negative. No, it's not I don't believe in love. I do believe in love. I'm just realistic. And falling in love without understanding what your boundaries are is a recipe for disaster. And a lot of men don't know what their boundaries are. Don't know what their boundaries are, and don't care about knowing what their boundaries are. So anyway, I'm gonna end this, guys. I'm gonna get on the road, man. I'm gonna end this. I'm looking at some gear. I'm gonna end this, and shout out to guys, to the few guys to watch. Shout out to the brothers that are watching. Appreciate you guys tapping in. Trying to debate on what I'm gonna wear, guys, today for this football game. Trying to debate, guys, what I'm gonna wear for this football game. But anyway, listen, guys, y'all take care. Share the stream. And guys, if you haven't had it, I want you guys to start putting yourself in a position where you can get that mental orgasm, all right? I'll talk to you guys soon. Share the stream, guys. Y'all take care. Be good.